Die as soon as you. Okay. Good evening. We are live. This is fun. Hey, Danielle.
Hey girl, hey.
All right. So, thank you for joining me this evening. I'm so happy to have you. I know I'll be getting on your nerves. You said that before, but
You all right, you all right. I don't mind.
we're not gonna do that tonight. Tonight we're gonna be friends. Well, we're
No,
gonna try.
you sound just like listen. You sound like all my cousins in Philly. You sound like my cousin Terrence. Oh my god, all y'all
We
sound
gonna
just alike.
no. You know what it is? Philly is the birthplace of America, so everybody else got accents, not us. How
Oh,
about that?
is that what it is? But
How
I'm from
about
Jersey. I don't think we have an accent at all. So
how about that?
I would
So
say,
we're gonna get warmed up, and I have a quick fire round just to get us warmed up while the ladies are joining us. I hope that we have. Hey, Lashera, thank you for joining us. Um, I hope that we have some more people coming in. But as we get people to come in, we're going to do a quick lightning round. This is just to get us warmed up with the questions. Don't want you to think too quick. Don't think too much. First to come to mind, just 5 quick questions. You ready?
got it.
Water, water, wine, coffee, or tea.
Wine.
All right, I'm gonna drink to that.
Me too.
Morning or night?
Night.
I knew that. Digital or print?
A digital
Standalone or series?
series.
Music or quiet?
Music.
Okay, that wasn't too hard.
Yeah.
Any explanations for any of your answers? You want to expound on anything, or you want to just leave it at that's what it is and that's what I'm going with?
Only music because I mean morning because I mean night because do not bother me in the morning at all. I am very grumpy. I do not like being up in the morning, even though I am because my body is trained to be up Sunday through Sunday at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I still don't like it though. Like don't talk to me before noon at all. And I have to have some type of noise going on while I'm up, but while I'm going to sleep, it has to be complete silence, complete darkness.
Dang. Well, no, not
Always.
complete silence, but definitely complete darkness.
Complete darkness. Yes, always.
Okay.
Hmm.
Well, it has been like a few years since you've joined us here at Sister Girls Book Club to chat about one of your releases, but I have absolutely had to have you join us to discuss your latest series because, as you know already, I was a huge fan of this
Great.
latest series, and I just thought that it was a book that the Sister Girls would really enjoy reading. And the last book we discussed was The Middle House on Tremont Avenue.
Middle bedroom. Hmm.
Yep, and I definitely have to, bring that up because some of those characters crossed over into the sister series just because of the relationships that were built, the friendships that were built, So I think it would like just behoove me not to mention, that we went through so much with the women in that novel for them to then, Tori, that's how Tori was introduced.
Right.
That's
Hmm.
how Asla was introduced to us. And she, even though she was not in this series, she played a major part of the growth that we saw in a main character of this series.
She was in the series. Remember she
Well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like she what like that's what I mean. Like
right.
that that specific, I don't want to say that because I don't like saying that out loud. That's like, it's
Yeah,
like
she was my original fave, so I miss her. Oh,
it's like, but I think that she really Asla, I think without that friendship, Niobe wouldn't have been able to be the character that she was in this series.
right.
That's my point. She would not have been able to even though in this series we're actually dealing with her blood family, right?
Uh-huh.
But without that friendship, that sisterhood, that like Asa was her real first friend.
She was.
That was
Hmm.
her only friend. And in this series, for her to be the central character in the last book, one of the central characters in the last book, I feel like that friendship taught her how to be a friend to her cousins and
Right.
really not just be that protector where it's like, call me if you have a problem. She actually built healthy relationships with them.
For the first time in her life. Right.
Right. But
Hmm.
even with Tori being her favorite cousin, it
Right.
was like Tori was her favorite cousin because she saw a lot of herself in Tori.
Right. Right.
So it wasn't like this is my favorite cousin because we have this great relationship. It's like
Hmm.
Tori has the same skill set that I have, so
Right.
I like her. But
Right.
but
But then you connect that way. That I think that Yoli made a good point of like saying she's always there for them, but and who is ever there for her besides, of course, Ibn is always there for her, but like really, like who's her sister girl, like who is her girlfriend that she can run to? She doesn't have anybody, and like Tori, I love you, but you don't do it for her, so let me be the one to do it for her, which is why their dynamic was so tricky in book 3 when she kind of like crossed her and Niobe was so brokenhearted. Like, I loved you and you crossed me and you lied to me and you broke my heart. Really, you broke my heart. So yeah, but I never intended on when I started writing for them to match the way that I do. Like I didn't want them to like so I wrote the middle building and then I wrote the 6 stages of grief and never intended. That's why nobody from the middle building was mentioned in the 6 stages of grief, because I didn't intend for books to keep going and going and going the way that they do. But everybody kept talking about Tori. Like it was like I couldn't get away from her. Like everybody was like, "Where is
is
she?
that
Where is she? Like when is she
really,
coming back?"
really,
They
out of
wanted
all
her.
your characters,
Well,
Tori
remember,
is
well, this was only on book 2 because remember she
okay.
was dead and everybody
Right.
was going crazy. Like we want her back, we want her back, and I was like, why did she make such an impact on everybody? Because remember at the time, Asla was my favorite, and I was like, Tori, what is the big deal about? Tori, I was more into the dog. I was more into Amy at the time than I was into Tori. I was like, what is the big deal? So I was like, let me write, and then I wrote Fruit of the Poisonous Tree, and I was like, all right, I'll bring Tori back. But that's when I fell in love with Niobe. She was originally supposed to be Ashley, remember? And then she put on this whole farce for a whole year, dressing up as a whole different person. And she put on this whole thing just to kill Jordan. And I was like, I love her. Like, this bitch is crazy. I love her. And that's when
She is
she
my
just,
favorite character.
she is mine too. And I thought I wanted to like, I was gonna kill her in this series. Like she was supposed to die. That's why she got on a plane at the end of this book, because I was like, this bitch gotta go. Like I just can't get away from her because I love her so much. And I thought about it and I was like, listen, Easy Rawlins got 17 damn books. First of all, um, Watson Mosley is my favorite writer of all time, and Easy Rawlins has 17 books. I love Roy Glenn. The Mike Black saga has 9 books. I'm like, if I want to write about this bitch forever and ever and ever, I'm gonna write about her forever.
I don't never understand that, and I guess just from a reader's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
because if you have a character who as she's so complex,
Right, she is.
it's like you can never get bored with somebody who's so complex.
Not with her.
So I think that, like you said, if you want to first of all, I blocked people on this page. I felt like she was going to die and was shocked she didn't. See,
She was supposed to. She was.
okay, wait. We done got a little bit ahead of
I'm
ourselves.
sorry.
We got a
She
little bit
was.
ahead of ourselves.
I'm
Hold on,
sorry.
wait a minute. We got a little bit. Let's roll
That's
back.
because we can talk about her. Me and listen, we can talk about her forever and
We
ever.
can. We do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from
Right.
the beginning.
We'll go back.
I know, like you said, that you are an avid reader. It's very much a passion of yours.
It's
So,
so bad.
do you
I haven't. I know what you're about to ask me because I seen the questions. I haven't been reading like I'm supposed to. I feel so bad. Like every year,
really?
yeah, I want to do like how everybody at the end of the year does like what I read, like the greatest 5 books, and I'm like,
Yes.
because first of all, if I do read, it's all the same people. Like if Desiree puts out a book, I don't know if you know Desiree. She's written like the Sky Sisters and everything like that.
I've
Okay,
heard
so
of her. Yeah.
if she drops, I'm reading it immediately. If I'm in the middle of writing, please don't expect anything because I'm gonna stop immediately. I have to read what she's written.
Yeah.
That's how much I love her. If Love Belvin drops, I'm gonna read whatever Love has written.
Put that in the group. You definitely put that in the group before
I'm
that you
gonna
wanted.
drop
When you were
whatever.
about to drop this last book, you said, "Listen, if the editor's not done before Love drops her book, y'all gonna have to wait." Like
Sorry,
she
because
should.
I
After
gotta.
you asked for months, you was like, "Well, listen, if Love drops her book before this editor gets me my edits back, you guys are gonna have to wait." And I was like,
And Tay, oh, I love Tay. Shout out to Tay, Octavia Frost. I love, that's my editor. Shout out to Tay. I love her. Um, Tay gave me my edits back, I think, like 2 days before Thanksgiving, and then she dropped on the first, so everybody got lucky because Tay just happened to come through, or whatever. But yeah, and then so I think I read Love last year. Takira Allen, if she's dropping, I'm reading. I think I read Takira last year. Burner Boys came out last year. I think I read that. Brienne dropped something last year, and I hadn't read
From the Hood with Love.
Yes, yeah, so I hadn't read the first two, so I started on the first one.
Well, I waited for that one. I knew I needed to wait for all three to drop, so I waited, and before I even started, I waited for all three.
Right. I read that, and then I think I read.
And she actually did a Christmas short for that one too.
I haven't even gotten past the first one. I haven't been in my reading bag like I should. I was such an avid reader, like everybody else, like 600 books a year. That's how I was reading, and I just haven't been in my reading bag.
I've ever read 600, and I read a lot, and I don't think I've ever read 600 books in a year.
I used to do it. I used to do it. I can't do it anymore. Yeah.
So even if you're not reading a lot, how has reading kept you inspired as an author?
It doesn't. Honestly, it doesn't. You know what does? Movies. It's always a movie. Reading doesn't keep me inspired because you know what? If you listen to the names I just dropped, they're all amazing writers. So it's like half the time I can't even keep up. In my mind, it's like I can't keep up with these bitches. I'm not even trying to. I can't. These bitches are amazing. I can't keep up with these hoes, so I'm not even gonna try. So let me read these. Watch these awful ass movies, and I watch these movies, and I'm like, who wrote this shit? Like, why they don't got me on their team? Because you need a writer, and every time you know what I do to stay inspired. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I watch like some Tyler Perry shit and be like, I can tell he don't got no writer.
If he could do this, I could do that.
Right. Honestly, I could be like, I could tell he don't have no writer's room and he need one. And if he needs one, that call me. I come down to Atlanta. I'm only 3 hours away. Like I do. I watch movies because especially because I be like, this shit is so predictable. And like, you need me. And I know like 20 Black women that I could bring with me on the team. And we could like write some dope shit for you. Like, because this shit is trash. So it's movies for me. It's not books.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. It's true. It's movies for me though. It's not books. Books don't keep me inspired to write. Movies do though. They do. And then they also like I get a lot of material and not like stealing people's stuff, but it's like I could write that and then I could write that 20 times better and then I could put my own spin on it and then it's like I could do that.
That's so funny because I tell people that a lot. Like, so my sister and I, we watch a lot of movies together. My sister is not at Facebook. She is not in this group, but somehow she's going to hear this. I don't know how she's a stalker. But anyway, she gets mad because we watch a lot of suspense thrillers, right? I always can predict it. She said, how did you become so good at predicting? I said, because I read a lot. The same reason why I won't watch Power. I stopped watching Power because I said, let me explain something to you. If I wanted something like this to play out in my mind, I would rather read about it because the way y'all had this is no offense to Courtney Kemp. I think she's amazing. I think what they're doing is amazing. And everybody always say 50-50-50. No, it's Courtney's show. It's Courtney's show.
He's just a producer, right? She's the
producer, but it's Courtney's show. And I think she's amazing. And I think it's amazing that we are, that, and I say this without pause, that urban literature has created a lane for a show like Power to exist, right?
Right.
But because I read so much urban, I can't watch shows like that because I've seen it all. And even like it's not like you said, it's none of it is far-fetched, none of it, all of it is very much. I've read about this before. I've seen this happen before.
Well, this is why I feel like Snowfall is the greatest show on television.
I not watch Snowfall.
Well, the writer. So when who did Boys in the Hood? I'm sorry, I can't recall his name. But
John Singleton.
Okay, when John Singleton died, everybody was so worried, and I'm like, why? When Walter Mosley is the writer, what are we worried about? Walter Mosley is gonna hold it down. John Singleton was just a director and a producer. He wasn't writing the show. Walter Mosley was, and he's still here.
I think a lot of people skip past that. And
nobody gives the writers credit.
Nobody gives the writers credit because these big names get attached to these shows, these movies, and they don't really pay attention to who actually laid the foundation for this for this media to work.
Right.
Writers lay the foundation for this media to work. And I think we skip past that a lot. Even in music, you see it happen a lot. You're
Right.
not worried about who wrote the song, you're worried about who performed the song.
Or the producers, because the producers get a lot
Or
of love too.
right. Also, but it has to be a producer who you can identify, like when
Right.
you know their tag. If you don't know the tag, because like I have a producer friend who's like has Grammys,
Right.
and nobody knows who he is, and it's like,
Right.
well,
I
look
see
at
the
that.
comments too, but I don't see names. So I see y'all though. I'm reading them. I see.
Yeah, we can't. Unfortunately, we can't see names.
Yeah.
So okay, you mentioned that you write and you're inspired by movies, but your writing style is very unique, and it really doesn't serve any one genre. Like it's spiritual, it's
Right.
urban, it's romance, it's sometimes it even gets into like it creeps into that supernatural level. It's like what
I
like
wish.
what
I
would
wish.
you like? What would you like? What do you consider your genre, and what do you set out to write, or do you just write how you feel?
It's so weird when everybody asks me what genre. I'm like, I'll be like, oh, maybe contemporary. I don't know, because I really don't know. It's spiritual just because I got a lot of faith. I'm real grounded. I hate to always say out loud that listen, my faith wavers a lot more than I want to say out loud. But I try to still incorporate it a little bit. But I still don't put in it as much as I probably sometimes think that I should. Romance, I don't be thinking that I put in enough at all. Like I don't be feeling like nobody's in love. My whole mission in and
First of all, hold on.
you be
Don't do
thinking
that.
people in love? I don't
Don't.
even never feel that in my books.
So wait, even in Naomi Not in Love,
Well, Ibn and Niobe are definitely
because
in
they
love.
because that is
That
that
is
right there,
that is unbreakable.
that is beyond.
Yeah, they're
That is
psychotic though.
that is beyond romance.
Yeah,
That
they're
is literally like
crazy.
that's like next level. You if you breathe wrong, I'm gonna feel it in my chest, and I'm coming like when people like you hear songs like even Beyonce and Jay-Z said, I'm coming for you in the afterlife. They make me believe it.
Well,
They make me believe it.
that was the purpose of me going a little bit off the rails, because I just wanted to kill. I wanted to kill Ibn, but I wanted him to come back and be like, well, it doesn't matter if you kill me, I'm still gonna be here. But then I thought that might be a little bit too far
Girl,
fetched for them.
supernatural is like the thing right now. So I feel like you could have pushed that one.
I love
Supernatural
supernatural
is like the
everything.
thing right now. So I definitely think you could have pushed that. So you don't consider yourself a genre based writer. You
I
just
wouldn't I
what you
wouldn't know how to put myself in that box. I wouldn't mind it, but I just don't know how to put
but I
what
definitely
box
think
to
there's
put
some
myself.
romance. I definitely think there's some romance there. Like I definitely think now of course my mind is drawing a blank, but what's the one her husband died, he was older, and now she just had the baby. And what's this character's name? One of the sisters, one of the four sisters from Darby's Girls. The one that went to jail.
I'm not sure.
The one that went to jail, and her husband died, and then she started dating the younger the gentleman that was her age that had always had a crush on her. I thought their relationship was very romantic. The fact that she wouldn't, when her husband died, he still came. Yoli
Oh,
and
Yearling. Okay.
Yoli and her new
Oh,
husband.
Nicodemus.
Yes, I thought that
Yes.
was their relationship was very romantic to me.
I thought that it was very I thought okay, so I wanted him to be like, I'm here, but I'm not here. When her husband when he died, I
Yeah,
wanted him to be
he
like,
really gave her that space to mourn,
right,
but
yeah.
he
You thought that was
definitely
Nicodemus.
he definitely showed up how a man shows up for a woman that he wants
Right.
to be with, and he
Yeah.
gave her that space. And once that space and time was over, and she gave him the green light, baby boy was on go.
He was.
Flowers, dates, movies. I
He
want a baby. You want a baby? We can have a baby. We can take. He even took in this other man's child and was like, "Yo, I'm cool with the fact that she thinks you're her mother figure." You know.
right.
And then even
Yeah.
though, and then she was like, "Well, here, mom, take this baby because I don't feel like me and my husband ready for this baby. So, mom, take this baby." And he was like,
Right.
"We can raise the baby. That's romantic to me. This ain't
Yeah,
your biological child, and she giving us your baby.
it
Hold on."
was. It was romantic. I think that G and Tori had a nice little romance too.
Mm-mm.
I
See,
did.
see, see.
I thought they were romantic too, and I intended on Randy and Cash having a nice romance too, but that book just didn't do nothing I wanted it to do. I don't know what happened to that book.
You miss me with that G and Tori thing
They
because
was
I feel like Tori
they
is too much.
were
I personally feel like Tori is too much for G. That's me.
really
I do. I do. I feel like she tones herself down for G. I don't feel like he's a how your lady more.
really you think so?
I feel like she needs somebody on even level because you gotta think about it. This lady out here murdering people. Like G. I think because seeing him in the 6 stages of grief and how he was acting,
It was a mess. He
I
was on
it
coke
left
and everything. He
yeah.
was psycho.
For you to be this weak minded.
He
For you to
was.
be leaving, you left your child with other people and all that. That
But
bothered
but
me.
yo but Niobe has never died. We don't know if Ibn would be that soft if
He would.
Niobe
He
he
wouldn't
would. He
because he
would.
still got. He's first of all he wouldn't
He
because
wouldn't.
you want to know why? She doesn't make him.
Yeah,
And that's not to say that that's not his rib. That's not the woman that she does not make him.
yeah.
She turned him into Ibn, but he was who he was
Before her.
before.
He
Now
was.
he was a complete monster before,
He
and
was.
she
He
made
was
him just
insane.
so I feel like this is the difference. I'm about to tell you the difference to me. She
I'm
gave
glad
him.
you about to tell me about my character. Go
I
ahead,
am.
girl.
I'm gonna tell you about your characters. Let me come and tell you about your
Go
characters.
ahead.
Okay, this is how we talk in her DMs, y'all. This is why she be like, I be
All
getting
day long. All of y'all.
I
Y'all
be
crazy
talking
as hell.
her.
But go ahead.
This is why she says I get on her nerves. But I'm gonna help you with your shit.
Go ahead.
I bet you agree with me.
I probably will. Go ahead.
The difference is Tori gives G gangster, and
Does.
Niobe gives Ibn humanity. So if she died, he would just lose his humanity. He would just turn into that menace. And he might not now because he has these little children. He has this little baby, which is their niece, but they're
Shoot.
raising,
They
yes,
have Henry now.
and they have Henry now, but and so then they have their son. And even though his son is an adult, that's still his heart. That's their only biological child.
And Idris, they have a grandson.
That's what I'm about to say. So his humanity might waver for a while, but I can guarantee you he's never gonna be out here doing drugs, hitting on other people's wife, stumbling, about to get robbed. Like you got no, G was about to get robbed, killed for fucking with another man's wife
Right.
on coke, like just doing the madness.
How do you remember all of this?
I don't know, but Tori should have killed G when she came back. That's just how I felt.
You think she should have killed?
I feel like Tori should have killed G when she came back.
She might not should have went back to him. I think her and Shiloh were a great match.
I don't like Tori and G together, and now I'm going to stand on that. And we could put that in your group. We could put that in your group, and I will stand on that. And I know people will argue with me, and I will stand on that, and I will argue every last one of them down.
I love G though. I love him.
Wow, you got all these alpha males. You know what? Never mind. You can love who you love, and I'm gonna love who I love.
I do love G. I never thought he was very weak though when he thought she was dead. He was extremely weak, and I wrote him that way though. I did, but I even got him together. Remember they were having.
So maybe my issue should be with you, is what you're saying.
Maybe. Remember they were having the basketball thing though, and Ibn told him that. Ibn was like, "You need to grow up. Like you acting like a simp right now. Like you really like you acting like a." And even he didn't even like that he was with the girl. What was her name?
But that's my point about it, is that like no, he ain't act right, and I feel like that shows who you really when you down, because like when you live the kind of life that they live, that whole family, you have to be with somebody who's strong enough to be down with you. Like,
right.
Like you have to, like you just have to be. Look at how the fact that Ibn said, you know what, Naomi, I know you're not going to quit. I'm going to stay home and raise and be a primary parent to our child.
That was very damaging to their relationship too, though.
But do you know how strong of a person? See, most people look at people like that and be like, oh, that was weak of you. Do you know how strong of a person you have to be to literally like change the whole dynamics of who you are as a person, to love somebody that much because you know that they can't change who they are?
He changed everything.
But he He kept saying, "I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. I'm gonna quit. This the last one I'm gonna do. This the last one I'm gonna do." He knew she couldn't stop because that's what kept her alive. But
She
he,
never stopped.
but he found something else that he was passionate enough about to withhold that part of him so she could have that freedom to do that.
Right. But now, but have you noticed now that the tables have turned? Because like now she's older, and now she's like, I want to quit, and he like,
Nah, bro,
he's like, no, I want to quit. I don't want to be the DA
DA
anymore,
anymore.
and I'm ready to go to work, and I'm ready to put hands and feet and something else on somebody. And she like,
I think this last situation woke up something inside of people that they thought,
but
and that's why when you like this the last book, I'm like, it can't be because this might be like the last. This might be like the last situation like this, but I
I don't know
mean,
if you've seen the update in the group though. Like one of the kids killed a Catholic priest in Italy, so we don't know what's going on right now over there. I don't know what's going on. Ibn is definitely still in the wheelchair though, so that sucks. But the kids are bad. I really would like to. I really would
wait,
like to tell a
hold
story.
that thought because when we skipping around, hold that thought, hold that thought. I want to go to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, North Haven is not a real place.
Mm-mm.
North Haven is not a real place. How did you conjure up in your imagination this place of North Haven?
I just wanted to write about New Jersey, but I didn't want to write about New Jersey. Like I just know if so people are mad critical. Okay, so I am mad critical when I read. So when I read about Jersey, if they're like this street, this state, I mean this street, this road, you know, this highway, this block, and they like you turn here and do this, and I'm like, I'm from the city. I know if you turn here and do this, you're gonna end up here. Da, da, da. And I wanted to write
Girl,
about
if you make the wrong turn in Jersey, you're gonna end up in goddamn Japan.
yeah, right. So I ain't wanna. I wanted to
Oh,
write
don't be
about
upset about no street
Jersey.
name. You should be in Japan.
Yeah,
It'd be like
right.
take left here for the U-turn. You make that left, you you don't. I hate driving in Jersey.
Right. So I just wanted to write about Jersey, but I didn't want to write about my city or surroundings. Like I throw surrounding cities in there, but I don't want to be specific because then I have to like be specific, and I don't want to do that because I left Jersey 6 years ago, and I don't want to have to remember every little thing. So we always gonna be in Jersey though. I'm just gonna add a new city name, some shit that I made up just because. But it's always gonna be Jersey. I love Jersey because I can always write about Jersey gets off. Well, the tri-state area gets all 4 seasons when it's supposed to. So when it's summer, it's 100 degrees, and when it's winter, it's you know
Why
like
is it supposed to, girl? Girl.
yeah, because I'm in the South and we get all four. You know, we get all 4 seasons in a day. But like in Jersey, when it's summer, it's summering, and when it's winter, it's winter, and I ain't
I
got
don't
you
want to
know.
talk about it. I'm a little sad.
I know because it's cold as fuck up there. I know. And y'all got snow, nor'easters and shit. I left that behind me. So yeah.
Freezing.
Yeah, I
Okay.
know.
You
It's
still got my
cold down
total
here
before
too,
it's
but we ain't got no
freezing.
snow and shit. Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
I went outside today. I was like, bitch, why you come outside?
Yeah, we don't have no problems down here in the good old South. I mean, it's cold, but we ain't got no nor'easter down here. So
All right. Don't keep rubbing in.
hmm
How do you keep up with all these characters in all of these towns and all of these characters? How does your imagination work? How do you meet these characters? They're all very distinct. They all have their own characteristics. They all like, you have people who are conjurers, who are, in touch with the spirit world. We just talked about these children. These children like are literally vessels, and got people that's whatever happened. We still don't know what happened at Niobe house. We still don't know what happened.
she just wigged out. Well, what happened at Niobe's house was her great grandmother.
We know what happened, but we don't know what happened.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to her grandmother. Not necessarily happened, but like she just pulled her strength from her. Like she finally so Ame has been telling her, you never let me learn you for years. And she never allowed Ame to learn her because she didn't need to, because her great grandmother was always in her ear and always on her team. And but she didn't want to disrespect Ame and be like, because I had a higher power, you weren't necessary, so go learn somebody else, you know what I'm saying? So she never wanted to disrespect her and say that. But her grandmother, Ame's mother did say that. Nora did say to her, and that's why she never let you, because she didn't need you. I was always there. But I keep up because, excuse me, I'm the baby of 8. My mother has 14 sisters and brothers. I have 22 uh, 22 nieces and nephews, and I have my grandmother has 50 grandchildren, so it's I all together it's 50 of us. Like I have 49, not 49 first cousins because it's 8 of us, so I have 42 first cousins. And so that's what Christmas looked like for me in one household. So it's easy for me to keep up with that type of, surroundings. I could probably tell you all 50 of our birthdays. So it's easy for me to keep up with that amount of people because,
Girl.
yeah, so
And I
it's not,
thought I had a big family.
yeah, my grandmother had 15 kids. So it's easy for me to keep up with that amount of people. Like,
So
yeah,
this ain't nothing new. This is true.
no, this is, yeah, it's very easy for me to.
So this family is very much like you just like, oh, okay,
This person belongs to this person and they got this many kids, and then I yeah, like I could probably name all my first cousin's children too. Now their children I can't keep up with them little asses, but my first cousin's kids I probably can, yeah, I can name them all. Yeah, so
Wow. I
yes.
think that's the first time I ever wow. Yeah, that's a lot.
Hmm.
Because it's just so many characters. And I know for some readers that's overwhelming. To me, I guess because the way I don't know, when I'm reading it, you write it so it makes sense. Like,
Yes.
I know that these are all Niobe's cousins. And these
Right.
is her cousins from her mom and her dad's side. Like Tori is on her dad's side. Like I mean, you get to the point where like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's like, but I'm like, but do you have a chart? Is there some type of chart where you're like, this person is married to this person and this person is friends with this person through this person? And
When I did the fruit of the poisonous tree, I actually put the family tree at the beginning of the book, but it kind of annoyed me because like writing it out kind of got on my nerves because I was like, I don't need this, but I was like, all right, maybe
but
they
your
need it
readers may need
because
it.
somebody came in my inbox and was like, let me get a family tree for the Allens before I even started writing it because they were like, we know you're about to have 50 million
The
characters.
Allen family is something different, baby.
And that's why I made the Franklin family so small. I thought I made them small, but then somebody wrote a review and was like, "It's so many of them." And I was like, "Really?" Because I thought it was like only like 9. I thought I counted, and it was only like 9 of them. And I was like, "This is small to me," but I guess
But when
maybe
you grow up with 8 people in your house that you sibling to,
not. Well, see, I'm the baby, so not, by the time I was growing up, they were gone. They
they were
were
gone.
old. My oldest sister are 17 years apart. So yeah, it was just me and my brother by the time. Well, I think they all come home. They all come back. Everybody comes back, but it's like in shifts. Like this one come back and that one leave and da, da, da.
I'm just gonna
No.
go ahead and post this because I think this is a unanimous. I think this is a unanimous. I think this is an agreeable point to everybody.
Yes.
The
Every
islands are very stressful, and if you are here and you did not read The Fruit of the Poisonous Tree, you might want to go back now and read that book because
yeah, they'll get an understanding of who the Islands is for sure if they read.
yes, if you haven't read the books prior, you will need to catch up some mentally. But you can read this series without reading the previous books, but you might be a little confused. But the
Right.
only book you really need to read is The Fruit of the Poisonous Tree. That's the book that really will catch you all the way up.
On the
Unless
Islands. Yeah.
unless you're just interested in like characters that were just mentioned for a second, like Tori's best friend. What was her name? The crazy girl. Oh, I didn't mean to say that, but that's what she was. I liked her though, and I'm all for mental health. Like I'm a mental health advocate. I have better with mental health, but that girl was just different.
Bailey was crazy, but I loved the 4 of them was they
Like I didn't mean it. I didn't say it like that. Like I meant like
no.
if you were curious about like why like
No, she was really crazy. No,
Naomi
she
didn't like her, it's
yeah.
because like you would have to go back. Like because
Yeah.
I'm saying that because that comes up in this book. It's like why didn't Niobe like Tori's best friend? Well, you would have to go all the way to the beginning to find that out.
And she was the root of the root of a lot of she was the root of all their problems actually, and she was the reason why Tori was initially dead, and why she just was the root of all their problems. She her fake daughter and everything. She was she was the root of the problem. But Naomi put it all together. She was like, wait a minute, what if Jordan is not even really her daughter? And I just killed this bitch for nothing. And she put it all
I
together.
have a random question about Niobe.
Mm-hmm.
Why does she never hear from her sister? How is it that she hears from everybody else but her sister?
She,
This is why you could write a whole nother book
this is
I
why
feel like I want the baby to hear from her mom or something. But you know what? I'm sorry. I just this was a random thought. Because if you can hear from everybody else, but you was closest to your sister, like that was the person you were closest to, why you don't ever talk to your sister, sis?
this is this is this is why I'm I would like to so I have OCD with numbers, so I want to tell the kids story as an adult, but they would be mostly paranormal because they would all have powers except Henry. But Henry, I would have it so that mm, I
Don't
can't
talk too
tell.
much. Never
I
mind.
couldn't.
Never
I
mind.
I couldn't. But Natalia and Niobe would have a super connection because of Eden. They
Okay.
would have a
Because
super
I was wondering that in this book, like, how
but
come in every book Niobe hears from somebody, but she never hears from her sister?
because because of Big Henry and the lie. Do you remember the lie? When so in book 3, Natalia said that Big Henry raped her.
Okay.
And Michelle, is that her name? What I can't Mickey, her name is Michelle McCall, but Mickey says it wasn't Henry, it was somebody else.
Mm.
And Niobe believed Mickey and not Natalia. So they have
They
issues.
lost their bondage is, and then once she passed away and left the baby at the hospital, it was
So they have issues.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So all these characters, who has was your favorite character to write in this specific series? Just between Blood Sister 2, and Sister by Blood.
Rue. Rue was my favorite character, right? She was Rue between Rue and Mira, excuse me. Between Rue and Mira. They were my favorite characters. Right, Mary don't give a damn. She don't care about being holy. She don't care about getting saved. She don't care about Jesus making her whole again. She gonna say what she want, do what she want. She don't care about being married to the pastor. Shout out to Aiden. She don't care. I love, but Rue, because she's mad cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
No, but she's been
Crazy.
through so much.
She
But she
has. She
okay.
has been through a lot, but she's
Who was
crazy.
who was the most difficult to write?
I thought that killing Nate was gonna be hard, but it wasn't.
Why not? That Naomi, she actually liked him.
I liked him too, but I thought somebody has to die. That'd be the worst part about my book. Like somebody has to die, and it has to be a main character. Like I have to kill somebody.
Well, she did almost kill Rue. Don't say she did almost kill him. They out on the cliff to doing stuff and people following them. It's just crazy.
Yeah, but she ain't died. So I wanted to kill somebody else, but I just didn't want the flack from y'all. Like I just didn't want to hear y'all shit because I be hearing y'all shit and y'all be like, why you kill this person? Character lives matter. So
Character lives matter. Somebody take that to Takira. Please take that to Takira. Somebody get Takira in here. Character lives matter.
Yeah, I swear y'all be on it.
Her. Character lives matter because that's another person people always talk about killing people. She just be killing people. What are you doing?
Because people gotta die, but I thought I was
no, they don't.
Yeah, they do. I thought I was gonna feel bad, but I didn't. Who was hard to write? Nobody really. Nobody. Maybe grandma, but nah. I love when Niobe chopped her head off. Nobody really. Wasn't nobody hard to write.
Okay. Who would you say out of all your main characters you would get along with the most?
Who would I get along with the most?
Yeah.
Out of all my main characters?
Out of all your main,
I don't know. I still miss Asla. It might be Asla.
why you kill her?
She needed to go.
do y'all hear this lady?
She just had to die. I don't be knowing why. I don't know.
Well, at least she died from natural causes.
Yeah, she did. I wasn't gonna have her die violently. and her
And
funeral
she
was the
went
bomb.
with Tori and Niobe. Ain't no telling. Like, ain't
No.
no telling what type of lives.
She went peacefully and she went peacefully and she went happily. She and her funeral was amazing. Like her funeral was the bomb, and she was able to bring Tori and Leia back together. That was a good thing too. So you cried so hard. I'm so sorry. Her
That was my
funeral was beautiful though. I
that was
wanted
my
to go.
You want? I wanted to go too.
I
When
love I
when the
love
friends when
funerals.
she was like when she was like the friends had to come correcting the black dresses and she had like she knew already like she you know a bitch is bad when she tell you what you got to wear to her funeral.
Yes, and bitch had the plastic over her because y'all not gonna be crying on me. My face is beat, my hair laid. Y'all not
I
gonna.
just knew that was a bad bitch when she said, and this is what I want my friends to wear to my funeral. Like, what? I know that's right. That's
Yes,
the kind of person I am. Like, this is
yeah.
what I want y'all to wear to my funeral.
I don't care what y'all wear to my funeral. Just make sure I'm in all black. I don't give a fuck. Y'all can look like clowns for all I care. I'm worried about the security at the door. Make sure my baby daddy don't show up. That's all I care about.
Oh my
Keep
God.
the nigga at the door.
Anyway, a lot of the women in this series went through some very horrific and tragic experiences. We've had sexual assault, addiction.
It did.
Um, actually, I guess this would be considered now child trafficking. Before we didn't call it child trafficking, but that's what that was, which what Rue went
The
through.
real, yeah.
That was not just pimping; that was child trafficking.
That
Like
it was. She was a newborn. Yeah.
murder, murders in jails. Like like these stories feel very much like underdogs overcoming. And do you feel like they deserve traditional happily ever afters, or do you feel like just seeing them break out of these chains of just trauma?
I I think that that's another reason why I can't write about why I don't write about, like, I feel like we have enough stories about, people in the projects or people in the hood, and nobody ever, like, if they make it out, it's because they made it out on a man's back, or because they made it out with, like, some drug dealer dude, and nobody has a traditional job. Like, the dopest thing about everybody from Blood Sister is that them bitches own the block. Like, when I say they own the block, like, I made sure that I ran down, like, they own this, and this. They own the grocery store, the bank, they own the Chinese store. Like, no, the people in the Chinese store cooking are Chinese, but they don't own the store. Blessing to Inc. owns the store. Like, I wanted to make sure, like, that they owned everything. And I don't think that it needs to be like traditional, that they need to have everything lined up. I just think that they need to overcome, like, whatever they were going through, like, whatever and however, they just need to overcome. It doesn't need to be traditional. It doesn't need to be, they don't even have to be in, like, everybody doesn't even have to be in love. Like, that's why, and I don't know if you read Farewell Adams, but a lot of the women didn't, like, have men at the end of the book, because it was like, everybody don't need to have have a dude to be happy at the end of the.
Adams was the one with the wedding with the
Yeah,
vow
yeah.
removal.
So, like,
Was
remember
so
Kai?
that was
Yeah. So remember
Megan
Kai?
and Niobe, and she ain't want to go to her own wedding and didn't know that was her wedding.
Right. And yeah, so remember Kai had left her dude alone at the end, and Leia had dropped the kids off, and she wasn't, she was skeptical about letting Nehemiah back in the house and everything. Like, I just wanted to make sure that it was like, love is not always the happily ever after. That's not the end,
That's the word.
that's not always the happily ever after. It could be like me getting my bag, or me getting my mental health together and finally being in a good place, or it could be anything. So a lot of trauma, I don't know if I should start doing disclaimers in my book, because it's probably always gonna be a lot of trauma, not just because that's just what I write about, not because of because of anything that I've been through or whatever. It's just my writing style or whatever. Usually it's always gonna I want to write about dudes, but it's probably always gonna be some boss chick. Always, she always gonna have some money. She always gonna be black
I
for the
love
most
that.
part.
I love that. I love seeing black women be empowered like that because I feel
Yeah,
like we need places and spaces for that.
right.
Like black women are so low on everybody else's totem pole. So I think that's one thing I do like about the independent black literary movement, is that it gives authors like yourselves and a lot of the ones we have mentioned during this chat the opportunity to present black women how we see us.
Right. And then I do a lot of searching um for jobs, because I don't want them to always have like the typical job, like she did this or she did that. I try to always try. It's hard because I'm a terrible researcher. I probably, if I had the money I would invest in a researcher. If I had the money I would go a lot deeper into paranormal, because I want to, but I just don't feel like I don't feel like researching. Like I just don't feel like it. Like, but I would do.
Who was your richest character, would you say?
Now Randy is, well, between Randy and Danielle, because they've taken over for
Lady Al.
Lady AL. And she she had like, not only was she doing all the illegal stuff, she had the dispensaries and the liquor store, and between them and Yoli, because Blood Sister Inc. runs everything. But
Oh, what was the one for My Mother's Shoes?
Okay, so that's Scarlet. And well, Scarlet. Okay, I thought we were talking about New Jersey, but we're not. So if we're not talking about them
I'm just
as
saying in general right now.
no,
But
Scarlet got the bag. Then she's a billionaire. She's like big
because
money.
she owned the gas station.
Yeah, she owns gas stations all across the country. So
Okay.
yeah, Scarlet has the
She
bag.
would be like, and I thought so. You were the first person I've ever read where it was like, oh, a black person owns gas stations. And I was like,
She
it
owns
was something that never really clicked in my brain. Like we can own.
Yeah, she owns a bag all across the country. She's a billionaire times and times over. She like, yeah.
She got
Mm-hmm. She got the big bag.
but
Yes.
in this series, it would be between
It would
Randy.
be between Randy and Danielle and
The twins don't act nothing like twins.
they are nothing alike. Nothing, but Randy is so infatuated with Danielle. She is, and I meant for Danielle to be such a big character, but then I meant for her purpose to be, once I started writing it, I meant for her purpose to be, her whole purpose was, sometimes you have to sit down in order to elevate. Like, for one, I didn't want her to get shot in the head and then be up on her feet 2 days later. So I had to sit her down the whole book, which
But
was
that was more
hard.
realistic because when authors do that. So here's my thing about certain stuff. I love when authors have audacity, which you are an author who has a lot of audacity. I think that's great because, but it has to be audacity in a way that makes sense.
Right.
Like when people get shot and they be like the next day they walking around.
Yeah. It wasn't gonna make any sense.
Were they? Were they?
Yeah.
Were they walking around the next day? Because you obviously never talked to somebody who's actually been shot.
Right. Right. So coming from the hood, I have definitely seen people be shot in the head and die, and people be shot in the head and live, and people be shot in the head and live prosperously, and then people be shot in the head and be done up for the rest of their life. But I just didn't want her to be shot and then, like pop back.
Going to war. She's going to war the next day.
It was gonna be impossible. And plus I wanted her to be able to like see that sometimes in order for you to lead, you have to take the background, like, and you have to allow your soldiers to soldier, like you have to allow them to do what they're supposed to do. And like,
because they inherited Lady AL a whole situation,
everything, and not they, Danielle did.
Yeah,
But
I mean, whatever Danielle gets, she's going to. Randy is. I don't really look at it like that. But while we're talking about Lady AL, was she in love with their mother?
She was. So the whole reason why she killed Charlotte was because Charlotte wouldn't leave Raphael, and she was like, if I can't have you, ain't nobody gonna have you. And so that's why she killed her. And then it was a slap in the face even more to raise her children. And an even bigger slap in the face was to tell Danielle before she died. She wanted to make sure, Randy, she wanted to make sure that Randy knew I killed your mother. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why did she never tell Cash who his father was, knowing that he could assist in the ways that he could?
Because she was
selfish.
I could write her. That's why I said at the beginning of the book, like, yo, I could drop 10 books off of this shit because I
You
could
really could, because I was like, this lady is like, you could go back and just start from the beginning. Like, how did somebody even get mixed up? Um, how did Charlie even get mixed up with this narcissistic psychopath? Because this lady was off the chain.
write AL's book. I could, and I picture them. I picture AL probably in her like mid 50s. So I could just sit down and have a conversation with my big sister and be like, "Yo, tell me a story about you and your bestie Esty from when y'all was growing up," and just go ham with her story with no problem. Yep. I could write her story. I could, Cash wants to be a botanist. I could write their story
He
and
definitely, well, that true child, Lord Jesus, that's that one right there. My kind of guy, my kind of guy.
I
I
like
love dirty, laid back, thuggy, like the whole swag, like
yeah. He
definitely.
just was quiet and just was
But he
like,
was
whatever
pouted.
you need,
He was
Randy. Whatever
quiet
you
but
need, Randy.
pouted.
Yes, he was.
So, but then I was like, let's talk about Randy and his husband real quick. Let's talk about this.
First of all, let's talk about how
How
you
many
read me about Randy, and it didn't even cross my mind that she spent 20 years under his thumb. I, I, I just was like, oh, well, she just was a dutiful wife who loved her husband, and she just let him do whatever.
No.
She just went to work, and he went to work, and
Was he always meant to be this character?
yeah. Well, yes, he wasn't. Mm, yes, he was always meant to be an asshole. He was always meant to be like in competition with Cash over her. I didn't know how deep I was gonna go with his assholish ways, but yeah, he was always meant to be like just somebody in the way of Cash and just somebody competing for her. And
Well, they got his whole family killed.
he literally and did not give a fuck. He did not care. That was the bad part about it. Like his mama, his kids, his wife, I mean his
I'm like,
girlfriend,
the
his
children.
sister, his favorite. He got little Halsey killed, and all he did was put his ashes in a necklace and keep it moving, because all he cared about was like he want his drugs and his money, and that was it. It was very weird. It was yeah. He,
Seeing his brother get killed, do you think that was the thing that made him, I
I
guess,
don't
cold?
I don't know if it turned him into an asshole. I think that
Because that was beyond cold. It was like, do you feel anything
I don't know if it
for
turned him
anybody? Because you didn't care about your wife, you didn't care about your child, you
your
didn't
mama.
you didn't care about your mama, your sister, you didn't care about these other kids. Like, first of all, she's already raped, so that means you have 4 kids by the same person. You took
Well,
them,
no, remember Jake wasn't his. Remember he took Jake from her because he
right.
wasn't his.
You're
Yeah.
right. But it's like you had these, okay, so but you had these other relationships. You have these 3 other children with somebody. You don't care about that lady or the 3 other kids. You don't care about me and this child that you made me raise. You don't care about your sister who went to go get your children after their mama got killed. Like, what is it that you actually care about as a person
Not,
besides money?
nothing. He's a sociopath from birth, maybe. I think he cared about Halsey, so maybe excuse me, maybe Halsey's death. I didn't mean to write him that. It just happened. He just came out
Not
like
you talk about it like you didn't write the book.
yeah, but I didn't mean to write him not giving a fuck about nothing. It just happened that way. Like he just came out like a dickhead. Like he just he just came out like I didn't mean to write Parker that way either. Like she just got in her own way. Like why would you try to set Isaiah up? This is your like why did you put yourself in harm's way? Like you really like you know who his mother is.
Yeah. So for her, I guess I didn't even feel bad because you knew what you was laying. Like, sometimes you don't know who you laying down with. You very much knew who you were laying down with.
The city told you, like you know who his parents are.
And to play these games with this person when you know this lady ain't got nothing to lose. This lady ain't got, this is her pride, this is the only thing she does care about. Not saying she don't care about her husband, but that son, tuh,
It's life for her, like life for her. So
that lady didn't think she could do that. She was confused. She said I could have a baby.
I don't know why she put herself in harm's way. I don't know
First
why.
of all, I would have never had a baby by that little boy.
No, I would have got an abortion immediately. Like I wouldn't have even if he would have tried to talk to me and they would
I
have
would
been
have
like,
like,
no,
no, thank you.
that's Niobe and Ibn son. I would be like,
You
sorry.
know why? Because I don't even have these kind of problems. Because I don't like regular men's mothers. I don't like men's mothers. Like, I don't.
Me neither.
Don't like men's mothers. I say this all the time. Y'all act like these men is y'all men, and they not. And y'all think y'all in competition with the girlfriends. I don't like men's mothers. Period.
I don't really like men at this point. I was like, get your baby, Martha.
There you go. There you go.
I'm telling you that I want 4 of them. So
That is the conversation between us in private. Lady told me she wanted 5 husbands one day. I said, no, she is off her rocker. We was watching a TikTok video and this lady said she wanted 5 husbands.
And so do I.
Anyway, yeah, I think I would have let that one go unless I knew I was going in it with a completely genuine heart. But he the kind of boy, like, he gonna do some dumb shit and you can't do the dumb shit back because he gonna go tell his mom and then, like, never mind.
Right. And he's not even telling her maliciously. He's just telling her because, like, they love each other. And that's his mom. And he's like, Mom, let me take a park a day. And then she like, oh,
now she want to cut off my finger. And, like, never mind. I like my fingers. I think they're cute. I just would have loved. That's the kind of person you just kind of leave alone. Like, you cute, you fine, you got money, you set for life. But your mama crazy. So I'm gonna leave you where you at, baby, because your mama, she got some issues over you.
right.
You come home and sneak into your room and shit. No, thank you. If I'm in your bed,
yeah,
she gonna wake me up and kick me out. I'm all right.
Right. So I don't know.
So now that the war is over, and even with that, you could do a whole nother family tree because it was all of these aunts and cousins, people in the police force, and just out here being first cousins and not even knowing it, and then being like, "Hey, cousin, so I just killed somebody. Can you come help me?" No, you can't, because if you can, I'm gonna kill you next. So you be careful. Naomi's on vacation.
She's not on vacation. She moved out the country.
On vacation. So
she's gone.
We can go to Italy.
She broke Austin's heart. She picked his mans up and put him. And Naomi went to Brazil. I can't see this name, but I bet you that's Kay. I bet you that's Kay. No, she went to she moved. She's probably gonna take over Phoenix's spot. Phoenix is an empty job. There is an international killing sensation that needs to be handled, and she's like,
I'm trying to see who that was. Why is this not working?
Oh, that's
oh, it's Lex.
That's Alexis.
I don't feel like she moved. I feel like she just was like,
how can you not feel? You're breaking out. Is it me or no?
Okay. No, there we go. We back. So I feel like I think she just need a break. But speaking of this son of hers, before we even get to these little children, I would like to see him in action because he was so calm for like 4 books. And then it was like, wait a minute. I thought it skipped a generation. I thought, maybe Insanity and Niobe went and made a regular baby somehow. Like, somehow Insanity and Niobe made a regular child. Because he because he was so chill. Like he was just like a regular teenager doing regular teenage things for
He,
so long.
he
And
was
then
playing football, and then they did some goofy shit. They killed his grandmother, who he loved, and he was like, "All right, y'all killed in Maryland. Y'all broke my heart, but okay." And then they, they threatened his mom's life. He's like, y'all doing the most right now. Now they done cut the nigga leg off, and he's like, okay. Now you got family crossing. My mom, Yoli, done kept the biggest fucking secret ever in life, knowing that Tori is working for this bitch, and now everything is just, it's just stuff piling on top of stuff. And he's like, I'm about done with being Mr. Nice Guy. He tried. He really tried.
I really thought he was normal. I did. I thought he was gonna be like just a normal kid who had normal friends. He had feelings. He was open and honest
I
about his
feel
feelings. And like I was like, oh, he's normal. And I was like, that's so cool because you have insanity, but it been raised him, right? So he knows who insanity is, but that's not who raised this child. So it's like you know what? I like that Niobe was never like shy about herself with her child. She was like, I'm a killer. Boom. That's it.
You know what? You know it's always. You know what it always is. It's always a woman too. And Parker broke his heart. Like, bitch, you was fucking my cousin, and we don't know whose baby this is. And now I know whose baby this is. But bitch, you was doing the ultimate most because I was in love with you, and you was fucking somebody behind my back the whole time, and I was in love with you, and you done went too far. And I
Parker
already
was
got.
never worthy though. Like that's why I understand. I don't understand that about people. Like Parker was never worthy. Parker's another G. Like she was never gonna hold it down for the team.
She wasn't, but he's so young. Like he's really just a
Wait,
kid.
are they still in high school? Him and
Remember he's in his first year of college. Remember?
okay. And
They're still kids, they're babies.
their children?
Yeah.
Nothing from that.
Virgo is a hoe. I'm about to say she is, but she's nothing now.
So in my mind though, he was just a regular kid. They would I just was like, oh, he didn't do anything outlandish. Every time he was mentioned, I thought we was going to see like a peak of something, like some type of anger, some type of outburst, something. And every time he was mentioned was just very much when what's his best friend name?
Kai. Okay.
Kai, yeah. When his dad, like it was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna be there for my friend. Like he was very much an emotional support for other people. When Asla died, he was like, Mom, I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna get you through this. Like I'm like, yeah, Mom, I know Asla was your girl. Like he was really like a really good little boy. And then it was like, wait, this is Insanity's child. Never mind. Because y'all thought that. So I really would like to see a book and like just to see him come into his own with Niobe and Insanity gone. And it's like, oh, we can like, I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
Yeah, it's just so hard.
You want to share your thoughts about your character? Like, what you think?
It's so hard for me to write men because it's so hard for me to write from a boy's point of view. So that's why when I think about
a girl and just him being the guy, but just showing like kind of like Insanity and Niobe, but the beginning, but the
love story. A love story, but if I could do a love story and I could write from a girl's point of view, but a lot of people still gonna die. Like it would be like it would be like her falling in love with a psychopath because she would be like, what the fuck? Everywhere we go, somebody dies because everywhere she go, he'd be like chopping somebody fucking head up. Like I gotta get away from this nigga. He's fucking bananas.
Why do people have to die?
This is Insanity's son. He's coming into his home, and then his parents are not on American soil. So you have to remember that they're gonna test his gangster every fucking where he goes. They're gonna be like, "What you gonna run? You can't run to mommy and daddy. Mommy and daddy are not."
That's my point about writing a story about him. Like it's like you can't run to mommy and daddy anymore. Like I want to like now that I know that he got the Insanity gene. We got Insanity, we got Monster. What would his alter ego be?
I don't know. I would have to think about it. I would have to. I
love how Niobe doesn't have like an alter ego. She's like, bitch, I'm me. I'm a murderer, a mother, a conjurer. I'll be a drug dealer or arms dealer. I'll be whatever the fuck I gotta be. I don't need y'all might have insanity and Evan, but I'm Niobe, bitch. Don't
Right.
play with me. Do not play with me.
She
They
said
said they said Niobe, we saw you kill somebody. No, you didn't. No, you did not.
his aunties. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. She said don't sleep on his aunties. That's what I was thinking because he still would have Tori around.
And
So
even
you
though
still have Austin there. Austin is still around. You know, Austin coming with the Mac 10 on the
that's
back.
not you. Yeah, that's true. But I just would like to see him come into his own, pull Sakaya to it, because he really ain't, he gonna do whatever he.
Jake, and I think Jake's gonna boss up because Jake is like, oh shit, I got some new cousins. I ain't never had no cousins before.
So like that's what I'm saying. Before we even skip to the baby, because you talk about toddlers and the newborn. Like before we even skip to them.
Yeah, but in my head, like
Because
even had
that
the
would be
dopest story
interesting.
ever in
That
life.
would be interesting if these new babies is the reason Niobe and Yoli start speaking again.
Well, they are speaking.
I mean, but start.
But like, nah. But in my head, Eden is a horse of a different color, and they don't even
Well, she brought herself back to life. Like
yeah.
she brought herself back to life.
But in my head, Eden thinks she's bigger than mommy. Both mommies. And that's it.
I mean, well, she has Natalia's powers, and she has Niobe raising her. So that is like that's and they both have different gifts. And if Niobe's willing to teach her her gifts, and she has,
Niobe's not teaching nobody nothing.
Oh, okay. Well, shut that down real quick. Yeah. Anyway, so North Haven. So you said North Haven is done, but I just want to hear on good authority that you lied. North Haven is not done.
I don't know what's done. I don't know.
You just be making stuff.
Niobe's. I don't know.
Literally and figuratively, you just be making stuff up. You just be saying stuff to say stuff.
I just don't want to write. It's just not.
You clearly do want to write, because we just came up with like 5 different books while we've been sitting here for the last hour.
Those books have already I have like,
and let's not discuss that you still owe us like 3 cents. Like, girl, don't do that. Because I was gonna not mention that today on this live.
I think it's 4, and no, because Slough is like halfway written already.
Yeah, you still owe us some sins books that you were supposed to write in 2020 or 2020.
Probably was 20. Yeah, probably was 20. No, it was 2021. But Slough is like halfway written already.
Girl, you said that before you dropped Blood Sister. Yeah, that was supposed to be done before you dropped Blood Sister.
Yeah, because it's halfway done. I just never.
You keep saying that repeatedly, but that's not saying anything.
When I tell you that I have this other book. It's mad dope. I'll give you the synopsis. It's the parents' father dies. He's a judge. So the oldest sister is the one that still lives in the city with them. She's with the father. She's the only one that really takes care of him. She's there in the big house the day that he dies. Her husband comes home with her to, help them get ready for the big house. He kisses her goodbye or whatever. He's like, I gotta run to the office. He's not running to the office. He's running off to see his side bitch. While she makes phone calls to call the rest of the sisters. He called the brother. Him and the brother and the father never got along, but he's like, all right, I guess I'll show up. Because he is my father, but he was always a mama's boy, but the father was a womanizer. And so he doesn't really get along with his father. Plus the father's mad because they made judge at the same time. So the father has an attitude because he's like, oh, my son thinks he's better than me because we made judge at the same year. We got, nominated and seated at the same time. And the father, so he's like, I guess I'll show up, but I don't really want to. Then the third sister, she's fighting demons. She calls her like, oh, daddy died. She's like, okay, I'm coming. I'll be there in a little while. I got to get to the city. Meanwhile, she's in the city the whole time. She goes in the bathroom and snorts a bag of coke. And the baby girl is like, I'm coming, I'll be there. No, they never even tell the baby girl. The baby girl calls like, I can't get in touch with daddy, so I'm about to hop on the plane. The big sister's like, wait, let me tell you, I can't come right now. I can't talk right now. I'll see you when I get there. She hops on the plane. They never even get to tell baby girl that, daddy is dead. Because she's just a baby. She's spoiled brat and she can't get in touch with her father, so she's already on the plane. Meanwhile, she's hiding from her her boyfriend, who she, she forgot to tell him, she didn't, she just didn't tell him she was pregnant, but he found a pregnancy test in the garbage can. So he's like, "You got something to tell me?" She's like, "I'll call you when I get off the plane." So that's how I got, I think I ended off with her like pulling up at the house, and the big sister opening the door and she's like, "Where's daddy?" And sis is a closeted alcoholic. She's standing at the front door with a drink in her hand, like, "Oh yeah, he's dead." So I got most of that, I got up to that point written. I wrote that about like 2 years ago. But I could always start that again. And then I have, the Israel Jacob's sons,
Yeah,
of
Sons of
Israel.
Samuel,
No, the sons of Israel.
Sons of
Uh,
Israel. Yeah.
that's real dope. You guys met Simeon. He's the big brother that was what's his name, best friend. Um Not Kai.
Girl.
In the last building,
Yeah.
her husband, that was his best friend. But anyway, Simeon, Shallow's dad, not Shallow's dad, Zion's dad. You remember? No, not Zion's dad either. Anyway, they just were in the book. They just were in. Remember, they pulled over and got Niobe off the ground.
We play all day. Quit playing and drop us another book, ma'am.
I don't got another book. I did write
You
something.
just ran down 4 or 5 books that you could possibly complete.
I have they all sitting like in my thing. I did just write.
Sitting in a thing is not sitting in a Kindle.
Yeah. I would like, what I would like to do? It would take some time though. I would like to write like 250K. Do you know how big 250K is? It's
I just read a book that was 539 pages
so that's probably how big 250K.
in less than 24 hours. So
What?
I
That's
prefer
that's
I,
psychotic.
I prefer books that long. That's my personal preference.
Yeah, so the book would be named 7,329 days. So that's 20 years, but it would be named 7,329 days. But I would literally write about a man and a woman over their marriage or their love life over 20 years. Yes.
I love it.
So I would,
And when people die, and when people die,
well, since I've started, 2 people have already died, but it's only the first chapter.
Danielle, get off my phone.
It's only the first chapter, and they're not so they're not important people, obviously, because it's only the first chapter. They're not, nobody's invested yet,
That does not how
but I
that
don't know
works.
what would happen because I haven't, it's
So
just
so so you don't know where you going next.
if I go, I might not write anything. I might just, you know what? One day you might wake up and I might tell everybody in the group, send me your email addresses, and I might just PDF y'all some shit, and it might just be like a whole book, and I might not even like Kindle it. I might just be like, bitches, don't expect no edits or nothing. I just wrote something for y'all because I love y'all. You know?
Can you send me the first half of Sloth then?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Okay.
It's a novella, so it's not very long.
No.
It's
I
not very.
just I don't understand why you have all of these ideas and you're such a brilliant writer and why
It's because of the money. Because you have to like pay for shit like edits and stuff like that. And I just don't have like a big enough fan base to pay for that. Like, listen, if I could make enough money just to pay for edits, I would fucking write all day. I would write all day, but I
so
just don't make
so
the
we
money.
need we need to get some more promotion going on. So
Yeah, I just if I
more readers to read because you have talent. You have raw talent. Like you are very talented.
yeah,
I love your writing. I tell you this all the time. I will give you your flowers publicly. I think you're definitely in my top 10 and I am an avid reader. Um I'll be bugging the shit out of you. I mean, we talk about other stuff too. So, I mean, that's neither here or
right,
there, but I definitely want you to continue on this journey and I want you to feel good about continuing on this journey as well. So if
right.
taking a break is necessary, that's fine. But I definitely think that, I mean, even if you, like I said, even if you just write about the Franklins and you just,
Thank you.
even if you just continue to branch off, like you said, you could write 10 books about just about North Haven, and even though we had Farewell Adams, but between
Right.
North Haven and Adams, I mean, honestly, my favorite
And
characters are
Strawberry Hill. Strawberry Hill is where 7,329 days would be. That's in New
my
Jersey. That's
favorite. The book you were just talking about kind of put me in the mindset of mixing Bonded and Bonded in the first 6 stages of grief, like not necessarily the same storyline, but in the 6 stages of grief, whatchamacallit started cheating and had another baby, and even though he wasn't a womanizer, he really loved Gia. That just should just be happening.
Yeah. Misa. Mm-hmm.
And Bonded, I don't know why my mind went to Bonded. I think Bonded is actually my favorite series from you.
Really?
I something about that family that just gives me old Southern family vibes, even though they're technically in Jersey too.
Yes.
But
You know what my favorite, but I think I have read My Mother's Shoes like
so coincidentally enough,
four
that's
or five times.
so okay. So it's weird because My Mother's Shoes, because I am so close with my mom, even though we don't have that same toxic trauma relationship.
Right.
That's the book of yours that I gave to my mom to read,
Really?
because I felt that because she was really close with her mom. Like me and my mom are really close. You probably a lot of people have met my mom. My mom came to like the lads behind the pen, and people met my mom. Like me and my mom are really really close. So
Uh-huh.
that was the book. I was like, okay, this is one of my newer favorite authors. This is a book that she could keep up with mentally, because I feel like
Mhm.
if I gave her if I gave her,
Anything else you might be confused.
she'd be like, wait, what the hell? What's
Right.
going on? But in My Mother's Shoes, I gave her to read. She very much enjoyed it. Her and she comes from a family of a tribe of seven herself, so
Uh-huh.
she very much understands family dynamics and alcoholism and just issues.
Right.
So I gave that to my mom to read, but my favorite to read is Bonded.
Yeah.
Just with them coming into their own as siblings, even with the one being the cousin but still being considered a sibling, like just them having that bond.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna take care of each other, and then you know how it started with the sister almost dying and her coming. I thought that was just a very brilliant way to pull readers in and
Mm-hmm.
like backtracking to how we got from here to here, and that was a definitely romance. You can't
Yeah.
tell me that
Well,
was
that was a yes, that was a romance, especially with his dad, because she loved his dad even though he had his mental issues or whatever. Yes, and I think that might have been why she loved his dad though, because her mother had so many
yeah.
mental issues, and it was so weird because she didn't accept his her mother the way she accepted his dad, but that's probably because they blamed her mother, for their father's death. So maybe
Right.
that was the issue, right?
And
Yeah,
her mother tried to kill them in the bathtub.
she
Like,
tried to
I
drown
never
them.
forget when you
I
now
forgot.
to sit down. When she got pushed into the pool, she said, absolutely not. I will never forgive y'all for this shit.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. Not just today, but her mom
Funny.
to go back to the water. That's why the girl don't go there and fucking swimming pools.
Oh
Stop.
my god, I forgot she tried to drown them. That's so funny. That's not funny.
That is not funny. That's terrible.
I
But
forgot about that part. I'm sorry.
oh, okay. So we need to work on a plan. So everybody in the group, we need to send at least one book by Danielle to somebody to one of our reader friends who may have not read one of her books, because we
Oh
want
yes,
more
that
books.
was nice. I didn't borrow it.
And the way to get more money is for more people to read.
Well, and I took everything off Kindle Unlimited too, because I listen. Kindle Unlimited doesn't work for me. I feel like I put everything at a
Oh,
reasonable
I am
price.
so sorry. But we didn't give away any major spoilers about any of the books. People haven't read your back catalog yet.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But we didn't give any major spoilers. They're still very much worth reading. And if we can get everybody to read a book that they have not read by Danielle yet, maybe before 2022 is out, we can get a release.
I'm gonna work on. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I'm just gonna write. I'm just gonna write as I please. And if I really want to do the 20 year. It won't be named 20 years because that's corny. But I like 7,329 days. I like that name.
Let's
So
go with it. Let's do it.
it's gonna take a while though, and I'm just gonna write it when I feel like writing it. Right now, I'm binge watching Once Upon a Time again. So I don't know. Whenever I get, I write. I do that for everything though. I just kind of write when I feel like it, and stuff takes forever too because I only write when I'm at work. Like I don't come home and write. I bought a computer just to write, and I don't
I
never write
don't
at
think
home.
that you're supposed to say that publicly.
Oh, I don't care. I work, so I'm blessed enough to work in the office where it's just me. Like I literally have the keys. I open and lock the doors every day, so it's just me. So
So nobody gonna see this. Okay, cool, 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 cool.
I don't have no coworkers at all. Mm-mm.
Oh, that is
No,
beautiful.
yeah, I don't
Okay,
have no coworkers.
so if anything, what would you want the lesson readers to be left with after reading Blood Sisters and Sisters by Blood?
Oh, family is what you make it.
Family
Definitely,
is what you make. That's beautiful.
family is what you make it. Niobe was so busy, even though Blood Sisters, what they
Y'all
really
see how Blood Sister wasn't about Niobe, but we keep coming back to Niobe. She's such a boss character that we didn't even talk about the other sisters. We only talked about Yoli. We didn't talk about the other three sisters at all. I'm so sorry.
Well, Blessed is what she wasn't even okay. So she wasn't even supposed to be in this book, obviously, because she had like a little flash in the first book, right? Remember, she wasn't supposed to be in this book at all. Like she was like a hot second in the first book. It was just about Yoli and Lee and Joy and Renee, who was my favorite character in the first book. I love me some Renee. I loved her, but then Niobe took over. Because then I was like, the Franklins, it's all about the Franklins. They weren't supposed to, she works, her father's family wasn't supposed to have anything to do with this. Yoli just happened to, be a cousin. And then they just like took over everything. So, yeah. But family is what you
It
make.
lets you make it.
Yeah. Family is what you make it. Because, we're slowly, thank God for this generation, we're slowly getting away from that blood is thicker than water bullshit. Because I used to carry all of my family's drama on my chest. And so when I turned 35, it was like you hit midlife and it's so weird because they tell you midlife
Wait,
shit
35
changes.
midlife?
Well, they say that usually your lifespan is 70. So I say mid 35 is midlife. So when I turned 35, I used to carry a lot of stuff on my chest. So I turned 35 and suddenly I stopped carrying all my family's bullshit. Like y'all beefing with each other, y'all don't get along, y'all da. Like I just don't give a fuck. Like I don't care. Like y'all can have all the drama that y'all want. I really just do not care anymore. It just doesn't, I don't care. And then I turned 36 and I just stopped holding shit, period. Like everything that happened to me yesterday, I can't change that shit. Like why am I still harboring on it? It's the past, literally. I cannot do anything about it. So that is what inspired me to do Blood Sister, because it was like, listen, these women, they love each other regardless of the situation, regardless of whether they were, Derry loved them all. She was like, I can't have no babies, but look at all these guys giving me 8 of them. And, the Sour Patch Kids, the good ones, the bad ones, I love them all. And they all family. And they ride or die for each other. Like, they rode for each other.
And two was fucking.
Hmm? Black and Joy? Well, shit happens.
I just want to two perspective.
Shit happens in the midnight hour. Somebody said Black was a predator. He waited till she was grown.
Okay, so here's my thing about when people say that. Here's my thing about when people say that, because I wouldn't have said that after reading the book. I think it's predator when you always do it. When
Right,
you only date people younger than you.
right. I don't think he was waiting on her
I
either. Like he
don't.
didn't really pay her much attention.
And I feel like she was hot for him. Like that. And
Hot box. Yes, she was.
you see girls who like, no, I want him. I want
Mhm.
him. I mean, I've experienced an older gentleman or two,
So have I.
and I will be the first to say they weren't predatorial. I'm from Philly. I'm a very
Mm-hmm.
assertive person. I know y'all saw when Lou Duval said, if y'all ever seen a Philly girl get in a fight with a man, help the man.
Help the man.
Help the man. If y'all see a Philly girl fighting the man, help the man. Philly girls is different. I've actually been working on toning down my assertiveness, like toning it down, because I realize that sometimes it can become it
You're
can.
working on your femininity?
I just realized that sometimes my assertiveness can be very abrasive, and it's not meant to be as abrasive.
So
But with,
you don't want to own that you're working on your femininity?
I'm very feminine.
You don't want to own it? I'll own it because I'm an asshole and I got a whole bunch of niggerish ways, and I'll own that I'm trying to work on it in 2022.
Okay, we're working on our
Owning our femininity
femininity.
because we have very
These are real ass
masculine ways.
niggas. And sometimes you need to just be a lady.
Yes. Say
I
it out loud. Listen.
It's on my
Say
nerves.
it out loud. Listen. We're working on owning
We're
our
working on our
femininity.
femininity. But
Okay.
but all things aside, I don't think that he was a predator. I just had to throw it in there that two of her kids was fucking. And then he wanted to do drugs. Like, why do niggas always want to do drugs in their 30s? Like, bro, you adult. The time
Why
for
do
this,
you want to be a dope fiend? I don't even. I'm trying to figure out what stressed him out that much because I don't even think
I
that he
think
had a reason.
I think that really upset me. Like, why do you niggas always wait till y'all get grown to
And she
decide to
the
do
one that
stuff?
lost all the babies. So what was you stressed out about?
Like, y'all wait till y'all grown. Like, this was in a trial and error phase in your teenage life. You wanted to wait until you was adult. Boy, it ain't no time for that no more.
I think he might have been already was doing it. He just introduced it to her after she had lost the last baby. I think
I
he
don't
kept it a
know.
secret from her.
I don't know, but it pissed me off. Like, it pissed me off real bad.
I'm gonna just leave it at that. That he had already been doing it.
Anyway, I'm gonna let these ladies go.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any questions? I'm sorry, y'all. I was supposed to ask that like 10 minutes ago, but this lady then said something about a femininity journey, and that just threw me off.
You don't want to talk about it. It's okay.
I don't. I don't. I'm very much a little boy. I'm very feminine in presence wise, but mine, like, I'm very much a little boy. And I'm
It's
really, I spent so much time around boys. Like, I spent so much time around boys, and like, I approach a lot of situations like a boy.
That wasn't my issue. I just was one and done. You know how sometimes women like get sometimes women like approach love many a times and they get their heart broken like many times and they're like, I'm going back in there. I'm gonna go back to the fight. That was not me. Like it happened to me one time. Like my daughter's 19, so it happened to me one time 19 years ago, and I ain't never go back in the fight. I didn't. I was like, fuck y'all niggas. I'm gonna use y'all
That's how men
with
approach
a
it.
purpose. Yeah, and that's my and there we have it. And I have been that way for the past almost 20 years, sadly. But I said I'm gonna work on it.
So you can get your 5 husbands.
Yeah, I told you, girl, I'm gonna give me a high rise and be the rich auntie with rotate niggas.
Okay. So no questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this very, very interesting chat. We got like 3 book previews. We talked about almost every character that Danielle has written.
I
Like,
know we didn't barely talk about these characters.
we talked about all the characters. I think that's great that because now if
Every character.
for everybody who has joined us who has not read your previous works, I hope that piqued their interest to go back and read your back catalog, because this is your most recent series, but you have the Tremont Avenue series,
Mm-hmm.
you have the Bonded series,
Mm-hmm.
and Her Mother's Shoes is a standalone. Then you have the 3 of the Deadly Sins already out. So there is enough for people to go read to back catalog. It's not like you don't have something for other stuff for people to go read.
Right. I have
And also
16 books, so
16 books, and this was just 3. So, where can our sister girls find you on these internet streets?
I am Danielle Carleon on everything. This name right here. On everything, on Kindle, on Instagram, on TikTok. TikTok is the best app in the world. I'm just gonna say it out loud. I love TikTok.
So I want y'all to tell me what book you guys are going to read after this. My vote, like I said, is for the Bonded series. That's my favorite series. It's definitely a heart touching series. Definitely deals with mental health very much up front and personal. So deals with some in the closet characters. Very interesting. Very interesting. Politics, all that. So that was definitely something that touched on a bunch of different things that help holds my interest personally.
And I like period pieces, so that's why My Mother's Shoes is my favorite because I like all period pieces, movies, books, all that.
Yeah, you get three different lifelines in that book: a
Yes.
grandmother, the daughter, and the granddaughter. Actually, four because she has children. So you
She
actually get four different
mm-hmm.
four different
Generations.
generations in that book. Because I mean, even though her kids can't are kids, but still
Yeah, she's young, but
that one the husband woo child. Anyway,
mhm.
he tried to come back. So yeah. Oh, anyway, um,
Yeah.
thank you for joining us. Thank you, Sister Girls, for joining us. We will be announcing our February read soon ish. And I hope you guys enjoy our chat with Danny. And you can I'll leave a link in this chat box so you can join her reader group because we be talking mad stuff in there. She be mad. But
Or just come in my inbox like all the rest of these hoes do, because they just be.
I come in peace. I come to the inbox in peace.
No, she don't. No, she don't. Never. Never. She always going. She always got drama. Always.
I just be wanting her to explain stuff. That's all. I just be wanting an explanation. That's it. A little bit. And I want y'all to really, if nothing else, please go read Lust from the Deadly because I really want to talk about that with somebody. So can y'all go do that for me? Thank you.
That's
Appreciate it.
good.
Lust was good. Lust was I wanted that to be a full novel. That was good. Anyway, good night. I gotta go get ready for Euphoria. More drugs and
Oh
other
my God. You sound like my daughter. Good night, child. Good night.